Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and welcome to another episode of Newsround for Anfield Index. It is Monday, the 2nd of February, and at 7 p.m. tonight, that transfer window will slam shut, won't it? All deals will have to be done by then. It looks like Liverpool are going for a late surge, aren't they? They've bought a Jacquet in the winter that they're going to pick up in the summer. At the same time, will things get done? Of course, we've got to talk about the stuff off the pitch and back-to-back wins, but there's just a few sort of question marks. There might just have to be that guy at the party that kind of says, well, what about this, though, for everything that's going on at the moment? Because I understand a lot of fans are excited. I'm your host, Dave Davies, coming to you from freezing cold Edinburgh. I'm sure it is pretty cold wherever you are in the world. Now, let's get into it, because we ask this question every time at the start of Newsround. How are we? Thinking about the week that's just gone and the coming days ahead. Now, it should be mixed is the word I'm going for, because it's right to be excited over a potential signing, a signing that's flying in, we're told any second. As South Asian Scouser says there, what's your favourite type of potato? Mine, Jacquet. I think a nice little pun. I'll probably hear worse today at the same time. So there's that. And it's right to be excited about Liverpool doing that type of thing. It's also okay to look and go, that was a good win at the weekend against Newcastle. Not perfect by any means, which we'll talk about, but a lot to like about it. It's also right, though, to say, well, what about the now? Why have we left things so late? What happens if we don't get the business done by 7 o'clock today? Can look negative, but it's right to ask those questions. It's all in the mix, isn't it, on today's episode? And we also start the show looking at, we won. It's a great 4-1 victory, but that Premier League table didn't change at all, did it, today? Or yesterday, sorry, I should say. So we are still a point behind Chelsea because they got jammy buggers 2-0 behind, but they won against West Ham, didn't they? United got a late winner. So both the fourth place rivals got late winners yesterday to maintain their positions. Villa lost. You're hoping they could maybe get sucked in to the top, I say 4, but it looks like a top 5 scrap potentially, doesn't it? At the same time as well. And it's a huge week ahead because Liverpool's next game is at home against Manchester City, who were 2-0 up and cruising against Spurs, but are now, 6 points behind Arsenal. So it's a big week on the field. But let's go back to that Newcastle game because, again, and I'm using that one, mixed is what we're going for, isn't it? Look at those for stats. And it's a shame we haven't got the stats we can overlay for the first half an hour at the same time, but not far different in terms of possession, 53.8%, but the XG, 2.28 to 0.36, 17 shots to their 8, 7 on target to their 2, and 4 big chances to their 0. And yet, that's the right phrase to say. Half an hour, they were the better team, weren't they? They were the better team. They were 1-0 up. I thought it was fair they were 1-0 up. They'd had a series of corners, almost it was them. And then, I don't know how to describe it, but Anfield, everyone just woke up after half an hour and said, no, we're not having this. This isn't good enough. And it came alive, didn't it? With combinations of players more than anything and certain people shining at the same time. But a 4-1 victory where we could have scored more. Really could. Think of the chances that were missed in that game. But you saw the connections between certain players. And speaking of connections, we're going to talk about those players, of course. Of course, we're going to be waxing lyrical about those players. But Arne Slot talked about connections after the game. So let's just have a listen to what he said.
I don't think it comes to a surprise to anyone. Definitely not to me, because the more players play together, the more they can find an understanding. And I've tried to explain why it was difficult for them to play earlier on in the season, every 3 days a game. And now they are able to do that. because they can keep going. They can play more often together. We can play more often with the same team or same combinations. And as last season has shown, the more you can play together, the better it is. And I've always said that I would love to play, not love, but I prefer to play as much as I can with the same 11. But for obvious reasons, that wasn't always possible. But now it's more and more possible.
Yeah, first to play with the same 11. We knew that. It does seem that he's quite set on this a little bit, doesn't he? I wonder if he will change it, obviously, with City at the weekend. But we have seen a few games with Florian Wirtz at the 10. We are seeing, since, things have changed up a little bit, almost a 4-2-3-1, you could argue it. The Liverpool are scoring goals. And yes, Karabag were truly terrible in the Champions League. I completely get that. But 4 against Newcastle, and even in this game, think of the chances we missed, and we'll talk about those players at the same time. And it is right to talk about these players, because I will get to transfers, because I know that's what everyone's talking about in the chat panel. But let's not forget what we saw at the weekend. As Michael Reid tweeted, shout out to him, Florian Wirtz and Hugo Ekitike have each assisted each other 6 times in all competitions this season. It's the most by 2 players in their debut Liverpool seasons since John Barnes and Ray Houghton in 87-88, which was also 6. And they were, for me, the 2 stars of the weekend, weren't they? I mean, Florian Wirtz just goes on a mad dribble, doesn't he? And crosses it for Hugo Ekitike. What a goal that is for the first. Even the second's brilliant, almost very reminiscent of Torres. And whichever goal you want, whether you want the one against Chelsea, that first at Anfield where he stands up, Tal Ben Haim and does him, or whether you think to Tottenham at the last game of the season where he stands there, centre half, and cuts in and finishes with the outside of the boot. What a finish that was by Ekitike. They were so, so good. And as Michael also tweeted, because this player isn't always getting the love at the moment, Liverpool with 15 goals in 4 games since Mo Salah returned to the side. More than their previous 9 matches combined, beforehand 14. Yeah, always just worth remembering, because he's not getting a lot of love, shall we say, at the moment. Mo Salah. We'll talk about him a little bit more, but it is attacking. 2 wingers. Wirtz behind Ekitike. Does it leave us open? I think we know the answer to that, but are we scoring goals? Maybe this is how it will be till the end of the season. Maybe this is more enjoyable than coin flip SC. But it's also right to talk about a few other players. So, Hugo Ekitike. He talked about Hugo Ekitike, and I like this from Arne Slot as well. So let's just have a listen to what he said post-match around the French striker.
Funny, happy, always brings nice energy to the training ground. But also to the stadium, because the fans love him as well. He, from the start, he's here. I think everybody can see how special he is, how fast he is. That was probably seen the best in the second goal he scored. He took a 1v1 and went on the outside, which is very, very difficult in modern football to beat someone around, because usually players go to the inside and have a shot with the right. But there you can see a space. But again, I would love to mention the fact that he's not only, he probably didn't even improve that much on the ball, because he was special from the start, but his biggest improvement is his work rate off the ball. And that is so helpful and necessary.
I think that's important. You are starting to clock it. I mean, we know he can finish. We've seen that early doors, and the ceiling potential for Ekitike is absolutely frightening. But it is his off-the-ball work, chasing things, harrying him down. Do you remember when that ball over the top where he beats Dan Burn to it? And he should have really got his hat trick at the same time. I mean, Jonathan there saying about his second. I thought I was watching Henry for that goal. It really is frightening what Hugo Ekitike could be. And to be honest, apart from, I know Haaland is, of course, a different beast. Best striker in the Premier League right now, apart from him. Yeah? We've got just absolutely sensational. And Michael Reed, shout out to him, also tweeted about Ekitike after this. What a great start this is. Ekitike, the first Liverpool player to score twice in the first half of any game in all competitions since Luis Diaz against Bournemouth in 2024. It just woke up, didn't it, all of a sudden? It's like we realised, like, we best win. We're 1-0 down. Chelsea have just won. We need 3 points. And Ekitike and Wirtz were absolutely the catalyst for it in that first half. But out of everyone, the man who deserves his flowers, and we should be crowing about that performance, Konate was sensational. 10 clearances, 3 out of 5 ground duels won his aerials, 4 recoveries, 3 tackles. Simply incredible. It was proper vintage Ibu there, wasn't it, in all honesty? And I did like as well that Slot spoke about him post-match. So let's just have a quick listen to what he said around Hugo Ekitike, Ibu Konate there.
When he saw all the problems we had defensively, he called me early this week, say, I want to be back to help the team against Newcastle. And he came back Wednesday, trained twice with us. And today, not only he scored a goal, but I think he played a great game, and the fans were really appreciative throughout the whole game. But definitely at the end when he scored, and his teammates were just as appreciative when he came in the dressing room after the final whistle.
Great moment, wasn't it? Everyone celebrating with, even see Allison were in the length of the pitch as well. They'll have that, unfortunately, bonded tragedy there for the circumstances with their fathers as well. It was just an amazing moment. You could see how emotional it was, and it was the perfect way to finish the game. And as LFC Ekitike says there, a 10 out of 10 performance from Ibu. It really was. And it seems crazy in a way, because for me, I just, call it sentimental, but I thought he was brilliant, probably shaded. I think he was the official man of the match, if I'm right. And yet this man, Florian Wirtz, 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 big chances created, 7 passes into the final third, 32 out of 38 passes. I think that tweet, that line from the official account, I wouldn't argue against that. He will be the best player in the Premier League very soon. We saw it building, but almost since Christmas time. Absolutely sensational. Really is. Just going through the gears, it seems. Everything was going to take time. It has taken a little bit of time with Ekitike. It has taken a bit of time with Florian Wirtz, 2.5 kilograms of muscle later. But look how good he is playing at the moment. And in terms of the official Premier League statistics, and this is, of course, just for the league, it doesn't count for Champions League, that puts Ekitike up to 4th with 10 Premier League goals, 15 in all competitions, because, of course, we're counting the Community Shield. We'll take anything this season. And then, just because I said I'd mention him again, oh, look, for a much maligned player, there's Mo Salah in equal 4th place with 5 assists, who also got an assist on Saturday. Funny that. Lots to like about Saturday, although again, it's all going to be around the transfer window and what's happening here. And I can see you all commenting, so we're going to get into the transfer part right now. We are about to give you your fresh dopamine fix of the day, because in case you've not seen it, I suspect you have. David Ornstein put that out, didn't he, a couple of hours ago? Jeremy Jacquet is flying to the northwest this morning for a medical today as all parties work to complete the summer move from Rennes to Liverpool. The 20-year-old Rennes defender is joining us on a contract until June 2031, +1 after clubs agreed a £60 million deal. So it will be a 5-year contract for the summer, but also a +1 option for the club as well. And just in case anyone has missed any bits or doesn't have access, because David Ornstein's done a couple of articles on this, as it says, 2021 with the club with the option to extend by 12 months, which is great. So, the club would take that 6-year option realistically. Absolutely Brilliant news. I'm excited by this. Why wouldn't you be? Me and Bart's have done multiple transfer market metric pods on him where we said, this kid is the one. Of course, we want Ibu to stay. That is looking unlikely. We've actually got an update on that later in the transfer show that I'm not really liking. But Liverpool have moved early. And it's also good, just the whole Chelsea thing now, isn't it? The fact that it was us versus Chelsea again. And they've now tried to pull the whole, because we always wanted Sarr. And no, we didn't want to block Agipong's path. Sorry. Right. We're supposed to believe that. Even less believable than a Carve Solihull tweet. But we'll get to that shortly as well. But this one, just taking you back, a little bit of deja vu dopamine here. How good did this feel on Sunday evening when Fabrizio tweeted it? The here we go, deal agreed. He reported it in euros, of course, saying 60 million plus 10 million euro add-ons to Rennes, agreed personal terms. And of course, it is the agreement for summer. So that was a big positive. But that was it. We got the Ornstein one we were wanting. Joyce tweeted it as well. Look at this. Your dopamine hit straight up. You inject it into your veins. Liverpool reached pre-agreement with Rennes to sign Jeremy Jacquet in summer 2026. This was David Ornstein, 11:15 yesterday evening. 55 million plus 5 million, so 60 million, add-ons as part of that. All sorted. That's before, obviously, he tweeted that he's flying into the Northwest this morning. There was some interesting bits in this article last night that thought this was interesting. Liverpool pursued Mark Gay last summer, but 35 million move, as we know, collapsed on the final day, and he subsequently joined Manchester City. But this is the key lines. Liverpool view Jacquet as being a more valuable long-term acquisition than Gay in their model, hence the push to sign the French youth international. The club are trying to build a team for the next generation following the summer signings of Vert, Ekitike, Kirkez and Isak, and Jacquet is considered a big part of this. Yeah, it is part of the future move. Honestly, genuinely to say, we ran him a few times on transfer market metrics. I am excited about that. You're excited to hear Liverpool are building for the future. At the same time, again, it's not trying to be a party pooper or pissing on anyone's chips, but it is easy to build for the future if you are in the Champions League. And Giant Gifts there, 4248, tweeting, trying to get Gertrude, but Sunderland don't have a replacement. It might be tough to get this very useful right back utility over the line, which would help this season a lot. Yeah, you can't mince too many words on this, if you're going to be completely honest. Paul Joyce and others put it out yesterday, didn't they? Liverpool were ready to proceed with the deal for Gertrude, and the player wanted the move, but Sunderland are in position or not in a position to sanction the exit. And Romano also tweeted that talks for Gertrude have not advanced today. Sunderland are not planning to proceed, because we got that tweet and info, didn't we, yesterday after Arne Slot had said on Saturday we're trying to do something, which thought, hey, up, he's usually quite avoiding of any transfer talk. And then Gertrude seemed to be the one. It seemed like, okay, yeah, I can understand it. Former captain at Feyenoord, where Slot's been, utility player, as in can play right back, cover centre back, and DM in a squeeze as well. You understood it, didn't you? It made a lot of sense. And when you got told a loan deal for around 3 to 4 million, you thought, is it inspiring? Probably not. Is it logical? Yes. And now it looks like it's unlikely. It's not definitely off, because we've done some digging around and checking. Liverpool are still looking and trying to do deals, but a little bit like the Gay one, they could just end up looking a little bit foolish, because there's going to be those questions like, why did you leave it right till the last minute to try and do a deal like Gay last summer? What happens if it falls through like Gay last summer? I know there's going to be articles if we don't get anyone in saying, no, we're okay. We've got Joe Gomez and Jeremy Frimpong coming back. But it doesn't really wash, does it? it just looks a little bit like, and they are still trying, it's important to say. So what I'm saying now at about 9:20 on Monday morning might be very different from when me and Trevor doing the transfer show at the close. 7 p.m. tonight when this window slams shut. Who knows? But right now, there is a little bit of potential for egg on the faces. And as much as you want to celebrate, Jacquet, and it's right to for the summer, we need at least one defender now, don't we? One that's been ruled out, there was links and it was involved with Curtis Jones, that we'll talk about as well. But Marotta, the Inter Milan president, he said yesterday, didn't he? Liverpool keen on Dumfries. Some phone calls are to the limit of correctness, done even in a sudden way, which do nothing but destabilise, and has made it clear that Dumfries will not be going anywhere this window. So it's not going to be him. Seems unlikely, not definitely off, but unlikely to be Gertruda at the same time as well. So that's another one to keep an eye on. Yeah. In terms of other sort of contract news, Dominic Szoboszlai talked at the weekend, didn't he? He said, new deal talks. From now on, it's not in my hands. There is no progression, but if the right offer comes, then let's see. Hopefully, everyone will be happy at the end. I'm doing my job on the pitch. I love it here at Liverpool. I love the fans. I'm happy here. That is a well and truly ball is in your court message from Dominic Szoboszlai, isn't it? That if you put the right deal on the table, as in, I've been Liverpool's player of the season, so pony the fuck up in the money and everything you're offering me, that will come into the mix. So will are Liverpool in the Champions League, because if they're not, someone's going to test their arm on Dominic Szoboszlai and Liverpool. This shows, unfortunately, zero sign of being resolved anytime quickly. I think that might well be the same with any contract, realistically, because of the nature of how perilous our Champions League qualification is. We'll see, eh? It's important to mention this because a few are tweeting a little bit, saying, messaging in the chat panel saying nothing's going to happen. Because shout out to Louis Steele, who we've got at 11:30 today. He'll be joining us. Did tweet that out yesterday morning. He's not the only active option they are looking at, have looked at in the last 72 hours. And doing a bit of digging as we do at Anfield Index since last night, since this morning, the club are absolutely looking at options. They're trying to get a defender in, which again breeds the question, why have you left it this late to get it done? But get it done, they may still do. Will there be a new body in the squad before the Sunday game against Man City? All day to wait to find out. This name as well, because if you asked this in the chat panel, what about Hughes Smith and all the different rumours? Now, Fabrizio talked about this on his YouTube yesterday. Liverpool are in the mix for Alkmaar midfielder Hughes Schmidt, with a major summer battle shaping up for the 20-year-old talent. So naturally done a bit of digging around this, that he is liked by the club, absolutely, but not trying to pour cold water on it. You never know what could happen. But our info is, as it stands right now, that he's not the priority midfield target at all for the summer. That is Adam Wharton currently. Liverpool are very much trying to get that deal done. Of course, it's going to be Champions League linked and others in the mix for Wharton and their other targets. Also, Schmidt does, as we're told, play normally as an 8, very progressive, a lot to like about his play. But if you said 8, that is where we are very well stocked. It's probably a 6 that we want more than anything, isn't it? Which Schmidt isn't. So, yes, Liverpool like him, but there's nothing imminent. That's important to say. So that was an update on that. In terms of things that have cheered me up this week, I'm sure you've seen it. Made me laugh seeing this a few times yesterday. Carve Solihull, a few days ago, the Sky Sports guy tweeted, Jeremy Jacquet only wants to sign for Chelsea. Personal terms have been fully agreed. Both Chelsea and Rennes are playing on a Saturday evening. Expect developments after the game. Well, we didn't get developments, Carve, but not what you tweeted. And this is the man who said Liverpool have got no interest in Florian Wirtz, haven't they, at the same time? Not been the best period for him. I am fascinated more than anything to see how he walks this back, and probably a little bit of the story of they had, they've already got the youngsters there. If anyone falls for that, peace be with you. But when I'm talking about contracts, I don't like talking about this, but it's got to be mentioned. We got this, didn't we, that Inter in direct club-to-club talks with Liverpool for Curtis Jones on a loan deal with a buy option. Now, this got shut down quite quickly as not going anywhere. And Arne Slot got asked about it and said, we're looking to recruit, never mind looking to get rid. But Paul Joyce has mentioned about Curtis, and he had him with Tottenham at main inquiries and Inter main inquiries. It's important to say they're not doing that without any encouragement. And from doing a little bit of digging at the same time, on the Curtis side, a player will have a year left to go in the summer. And as we said multiple times, me and Trevor, on multiple transfer shows, our last info was they were miles apart in terms of what's being looked for. Curtis Jones' Liverpool future is just a question mark. And Amanda, you're saying there it got shut down because it's nonsense. It's just to be clear, it was nonsense for this window. Of course it is. But in the summer, with a year left to go and being miles apart on a contract, I wouldn't say it's nonsense by any means, especially as some journalists have reported it. It is unfortunately one we're going to have to keep an eye on all the way into the summer. This coming week, though, of course, everything's going to be about the transfer window. I get it today. But it is Super Sunday, 6 days' time. We have got City at home. We will, of course, be hoping, but unlikely. Could Spurs do us a favour against United? You're expecting Chelsea to pump Wolves, aren't you, as well? So it's probably meaning that unless we win this, the gap to Champions League qualification is looking tough, isn't it? And people have got thoughts on this, haven't they, around there? I can see it. Champions League qualification, they're talking, the chat panels are buzzed with that. Transfers, the excitement over Jacquet, the worry of what's happening now. But one person I do want to mention, as this transfer window is set to draw towards a close, it would be wrong of me to not take a little tour and give some recognition to the hero we've got, but the hero we don't deserve in Bayern space. Because he tweeted yesterday evening about Jacquet's agency, One Team Football's informed Bayern, Ebel and Freund, that the agreement's in place for a Premier League club. And look at this for a line. Shout out to Bayern space. Internally, however, expectations are that Jacquet has given his word to England's biggest and most successful club, Liverpool, and that only Chelsea throwing an open-ended, money-heavy contract in the equation could still disrupt the situation. If you don't love Bayern space, I can't really help you too much. But what is coming up for you today? Of course, it is transfer deadline day, so we're going to have you covered all the way through. So importantly, and I've got him, and I managed to get him to agree from the officers of the Daily Mail, I will have Lewis Steele in 2 hours' time, giving an update on everything Jacquet, Gertruda, talking about those other options that he mentioned at the same time as well, and seeing if we've got any chance to get any business through the door. So Lewis will be joining us at 11:30. And then later on today, me and Trev, 6:30 all the way through till the deadline close, we'll be doing the transfer show, the final transfer show of the January window. We'll see what's going to happen. We don't fully know. We're expecting shots and great ones and interviews with Jeremy Jacquet ahead of the summer. Brilliant. It's getting very tight to get any deals done and get a defender in, which Liverpool are trying, as we said, before 7 p.m. tonight. A little bit worrying, especially when rivals are starting to pick up points, aren't they now? Champions League qualification is under serious threat. There's a lot for Liverpool to do today. There's a lot for Liverpool to do before the season closes. We will see what today brings. But as I said, a couple of hours' time, we'll have Lewis Steele live for Media Matters. Later on, we will have the transfer show, 6:30 tonight. Wouldn't be surprised if, I'm hoping, and I mean this seriously, fingers crossed, we are jumping again on here to announce a signing for today. Otherwise, just got that niggling worry. It's great to celebrate Jacquet, but it's all right to just ask questions about what's going on for the now. We'll see if Liverpool get any business done. But thank you for your comments. Thank you for the chats. I know people are worried about someone writing off this season. We're definitely not, aren't we? Monday, the 2nd of February, that was another news round for Anfield.